Joining us, we hope that you did enjoy that bit of the editorial from Johnny Hughes from the studios of 3FM 92.7. You can check them out on social media as always. And we have TV3 Ghana as well. It's where we're streaming live currently. We do encourage you, make sure you share the stream. And for want of time, let me just say we're grateful that you've joined us for this morning's discussion on big issues. And as always, we have some great, intelligent, beautiful ladies. And we make sure we have the best when it comes to those who contribute to national discourse, shape public policy, and for us to have the bigger chunk of the conversation right here on TV3 New Day. And as always, let me say good morning to Shaibi Mohammed, and then also Neo Dante Mills. Thank you. Obrim Ponkaba, Kwesi Mensah joining us from New York. It's been a while, Kwesi Mensah. Evans have been Samba. Please make sure you share the stream. And for all of you who are joining us, please, Daniel Akpaliok is also there. But let me just also apprise you of those we have in the studio representing the campaign of DMA It Is Possible 2024, the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We have Loratu Musa Saka. Good morning to you, Loratu. You're looking very beautiful, as always.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I have Rodalyn Ayana representing the Great Alliance, Movement for Change, and all the others as well. Rodalyn Ayana, how are you?
Fine.
Great, great. And then, of course, I have Natche. Natche, how are you?
We thank God for the gift of life. We are fine.
Fantastic.
And then the woman. What has changed about
yeah. And the woman in blue today.
It's me.
I mean, she's a woman of all colors. So, Nanea Jantwa is a woman of many colors, had been in the extractive industry when it comes to regulation of utilities, had worked closely with the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, the PRC, trained many of us as well as proteges, also done a bit of politics as well, contributes to the extractive sectors or with Koseka. He's right here. She's right here. How are you?
I'm fine.
Are you going to Jericho today?
Yes.
Great. Praise God. Praise God. But you know what?
I go with Cookie.
Cookie.
Yeah.
Cookie tea. Anyway, Cookie is always prayerful alongside you as well.
I'm always with her there.
But as always, let me say good morning to Alice Couture. Elizabeth makes my clothing for me. She is located in Tema Community 1, as always, Site 3. Just in case you want to hit me up on social media, Messenger. If you have my number too, I'll give you her number as well. She makes good clothes, especially for men, the kaftans and all. But in the meantime, let's just surprise you of all that has been happening. We know that organized labor, they decided to shift away their stance to embark on a strike today. But it's also because they insisted government had met them halfway. And so based on their assessment, what had been announced to them after their meeting with the president, they were satisfied. So this is what the president himself and the government have committed themselves to. So we'll put that on the screens for you. And the measures so far introduced as a countermeasure or a response to all the concerns that have been raised. So we'll put that on the screens for you so you get to know. Measures taken so far. More military personnel to be deployed, including naval boats to stop mining in water bodies. There's going to be a ban in forest reserves, immediate suspension of mining in reserves. So it will mean that the implementation of that airline on hold. Tougher prosecution, we are told, 4 courts dedicated to illegal mining cases with plans for more. National Pact, all presidential candidates to commit to fighting illegal mining. That's a new narrative now. And then the government also has asked organized labor subsequently to suspend their strike and work together to address galamsey. But we've had a number of them complaining as well, right? So we will touch base with organized labor sections of them, both those in agreement and those not in agreement with their leadership. All right, now let's listen to Professor Bransford Jampo of UTAG.
I'm in touch with my national president. We are holding our own meeting this evening. And then I'm telling you that we are not going to go by this charade. We are not going to go by this show of incompetence and gross disrespect to other unions for constituting organized labor. Clearly, they came with an agenda. Look, there are so many things that are being said about the leadership of organized labor and the kinds of things that happened here. Okay, first is those bogus charges and allegations. I mean, otherwise, if you want to meet with organized labor, why do you come with a prepared speech? In the meeting, we were not. I mean, I made my first point. Others, a few people spoke, and if you are speaking, then the chairman gets up and says he doesn't want you to talk. And so, if you want to make further suggestions, we didn't finish the meeting, and they called you guys to be to join the meeting. The 16 public universities have all voted unanimously and overwhelmingly to say that they want to go on an industrial action. And we don't care about what disorganized labor wants to do.
For example, is it fair to describe the leadership of organized labor as being incompetent, to describe them as
given the kinds of things that happen here? Okay, you do not call a meeting and then go with a prepared speech. What was the basis? Means you sat in the comfort of your bedroom with the politician who manipulated you to come and read this to us. I mean, they have people they can manipulate, but not some of us.
And so we'll tie back with Professor Jampo with the latest from UTAG. We know there's an issue statement that is indicating that they will go ahead based on the quorum or the mass of the numbers who voted for a strike action on this matter. And Loratu, the accusation in town, especially just deducing or making the deduction from Professor Jampo, is that there's been some influence peddling. How did the president get into the heads of organized labor to the point that now they had to vociferously decide to suspend their strike?
Papa, good morning. Good morning.
Good
morning too.
I like it when you talk calmly.
My sisters.
They should come and see you off camera. All right, Laura.
I think even your opening, your preamble to your question is a
good enough answer.
Is not a fair representation of what is happening. Yes, because if it's about accusations that can be substantiated or president getting into the heads of people, I don't think that is the way to go, because we've all been following this issue from the get-go. I mean, I've always maintained that galamsey is an issue that we are all worried about, because whatever happens, the fish you eat, the water you drink, whatever environment, the air you breathe, all those little particles in the air, don't know you, Paparo, they don't know me, they don't know MPP, they don't know NDC, they don't know a Christian, they don't know a Muslim, they don't know a traditionalist or any other group. They don't know who is in organized labor, they don't know who is not in organized labor. Right, so organized labor took the lead or the charge to fight galamsey. I mean, obviously, a chunk of the people in the working force find themselves in one group or the other. So, I mean, it's just fair for organized labor to take charge of the majority of people that both in private and public sector. So they issued a communique giving government certain conditions. Government didn't sit by. His Excellency, the President, didn't sit by. He set up a 5-member committee. The day, the 9th, that their statements after meeting, that was, I think, sometime in September. I was here the day after when they released their statements. If you remember, we had a discussion on it. And they stated, government hadn't released a statement. They stated that government had asked for time, but they wanted these things to be done, else they are proceeding on strike. After that, there were a series of meetings. The latest one was the 8th October meeting. And a lot of things were agreed on. So the minister responsible for information came out with a statement after organized labor still decided that they were going on the strike. So those issues were put out for everyone to know that this was what was discussed. And I mean, in relation to when government, parliament reconvenes, and parliament is reconvening on the 15th of October, processes will be undertaken to repeal the LI that mandates people to regulate mining within the forest zones. And also forget that that LI was supposed to cure a certain gray area between the land policy and the Environmental Protection Act. Because in the land policy, you come mining forest reserve. But in the Environmental Protection Act, it seemed to not be clear, but it wasn't against mining here. But whatever it was supposed to cure, it's obvious that it wasn't able to cure it. So definitely, and this LI was passed by a bipartisan parliament. It wasn't the New Patriotic Party alone that passed that LI in 2022. There are 275 parliamentarians, 1 independent, 137 from the MPP, 137 from the NDC, that passed this LI. So once they reconvene and processes will be taken, there was deployment. And I kept on asking one question. In the height of everything, His Excellency the President, after a national security meeting, asked that military and police should be deployed to that areas. I don't think anybody followed up on it, but that has also been intensified since 2017. Since 2017, the Chief Justice then, I think it was Justice Theodora Wood, that set up 14 courts for galamsey cases.
Since 2017?
Yes.
It cannot be Justice Theodora Wood.
Who was it?
You mean, you wanted to say Georgina Wood?
Georgina Wood, sorry.
No, Georgina Wood was during
2017
Or you're talking about the former Chief Justice, Sophia Kufu?
Okay. Well, it was in 2017. I mean, in the wake of the fight against galamsey, there were 14 courts that were designated based on the mining laws and all that to look at galamsey cases. A lot of effort has been put in, but what does it come to? All these efforts that have been put in. And let's also not forget that organized labor didn't say, well, from the statements I read, they didn't say they are calling off the strike. They said they are suspending it because government has shown commitment to what their demands are and actions are being taken. And even with that, they insisted that they should be part of the committee ensuring that. And that has been done. So it's up to all of us, because if mining is not supposed to be going in a forest area, police is being deployed there, military is being deployed there, right? It also comes to those of us, collective, as citizens who are there, who see anything untoward. I was sad to hear yesterday someone telling me that it looks like even when all those operations, Galam Stop and all
Laura
that were
too.
going on.
The very inferences you make,
Yes.
Galam Stop,
Yes.
the first interministerial committee,
Yes.
etc., the subsequent report by Frimpong Boateng, etc., give us every conclusion that the first initiative had failed. The subsequent initiatives have failed. We have enforcement bodies around, deployed by the president as well as the allied ministers. And for us to get here means that the solutions didn't work. That's why everybody was agitated, or is still agitated.
If you talk about inferences, let's say, I mean, the fight against galamsey didn't start during President Akufo-Addo's time.
True.
It's been since 1989. Correct me if I'm wrong. There have been processes that have been put in place. And if we are being very honest, one of the most successful fights was the one that President Akufo-Addo led between 2017 and 2019, when there was a ban.
What do you mean by one of the most successful fights? By what benchmark?
That saw the aggressive approach to solving this problem.
And is that the outcome that we see now?
If you let me make my...
No, you made a specific statement.
Yes, if you make me finish my submission, then we can all...
How was that fight a successful one?
We came into government in 2017. There was a ban on small-scale mining. Right. There were people that had licenses that were even going outside their concessions, diverting water bodies and all that. All those things were clamped. Programs were introduced. One of the things that came out was the usage of mercury. The mercury ends up sitting in the sediments, not in the water. From what experts say, mercury is waterphobic, to put it literally. So it sits in the sediments. So now, as we said, most of these water bodies don't even have fish for people to eat. Those are the issues we have faced. But the ban and the enhancement of Minerals Commission, especially their monitoring and their monitoring department with all the equipment and all that, enhance it. One of the issues was also chiefs and people within the community saying that a chief, when they had the fora with the chiefs, there were a series of meetings with traditional rulers. One of the things that came out was that chiefs will just sit down, someone will just come and say, I have a concession, and they have no say to it. All those things are being dealt with. Now, you can't go into a community and just go and say you are going to mine without recourse to the traditional people, because it's a collective responsibility.
Rodale, what do you make of all this?
Clearing until election 2020.
Rodale, what do you make of all this?
Good morning, Ghana. Good morning to our viewers. It's interesting that at this particular moment, we're making it look as if there has been a fight, a vigorous fight against galamsey. If there had been, we wouldn't be sitting where we are today discussing it. Organized labor had decided to go on a demonstration, and it had to do with our water bodies. Unfortunately, they have suspended it, as I understand, for reasons best known to themselves. But even before this took place, there were so many problems coming from various labor groups. We had the GMA, the Ghana Medical Association, saying that, yes, we agree, but we will not be part. And then we also had the Nurses and Midwives Association also saying the same thing. We agree, but we cannot be part because we feel that we are an essential service provider. But what is the real aim of going on this strike or demonstrations or whatever? Is to get government to sit up to its responsibilities. So I am a bit disturbed that certain utterances that came out of various people was not one that showed that government had a commitment to fighting galamsey. If you get a government minister standing on in front of a group of people saying that people in Accra are saying that we should ban mining, do you agree? And then they say, oh, no. Yeah, Mreko Duka said this in the Western region when he was meeting with miners. And then you have somebody also, the managing director of GIHOC, also saying that if any worker joins the strike, then you lose your job. I'll sack the person.
Maxwell Kofi Juma.
Yes, that's Maxwell Kofi Juma. And that the galamsey issue was of national concern, and it didn't concern GIHOC. And I was asking myself, how come it doesn't concern GIHOC? Don't you use water? Don't you use water for the production of your drinks? So how can you sit back and say that it doesn't concern GIHOC? And then you also have another person from the ruling party, I think or something Boateng, saying that how do you expect a government to place a ban on mining in an election year when we have told ourselves that we are breaking the 8?
What did that tell you?
It just told me that these people were just out for the votes. The power is all that they're interested in, not the welfare of the Ghanaian persons or the Ghanaian people. So these are things that at least I find very disturbing, that we should place party and power.
You think that that's what has happened?
Yes, this is exactly what has happened. All this idea of hula baloo, people not wanting to be part, people taking themselves out, and all that, and all these allegations of underground or underhand dealings, it's all because some people feel that the only thing that has to be done is to stay in power, and by whatever means possible. But galamsey, this is not the first time Ghana is fighting galamsey. It's been fighting for a long time. I remember in 1990, there was the Dragnet, Operation Dragnet of AGC. The military went in there, and after a while, they were able to do something. It went down, but it wasn't to the scale that it is now. So I'm still watching. I don't know if we'll still discuss the military being put to use.
We will.
Yeah,
All
okay.
Nake, so the position that was espoused over the last couple of days, even Awal Mohammed came to say that the communicator of government throughout the week since I sat down here said there's not going to be any ban. Now, the ban in itself, if you listen to civil society and the coalition that was leading all this, was that they wanted a ban that was semblance of what had happened, where that moratorium will provide a certain time frame for us to take a certain introspection, and then you do what is right. Because the first initiative in the run-up to 2020 did work. Why do you think that the government was feeling reluctant to place that ban to declare state of emergency?
Good morning to you, Roland. Good morning, my co-panelists at the table. Let me also say good morning to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the man with a perfect pair of hands to reset Ghana, the one with the political will to fight galamsey, and I'll prove that shortly. And also to greet my Member of Parliament, Honorable Benjamin Ayikunate, that the people of Lejokuku will retain him and will retire Dr. Okuboy for life. That said, Roland, so you see, organized labor might have called off or suspended, what have you, any term anybody wants to use at this table, their strike. But the galamseyers have not called off the galamsey. The threat to aquatic life, the threat to human life, the threat to forest life, please, has not been called off. And so if we won't act now, I am sure that very soon nature will cause us to gnash our teeth and act. And I pray that the time that nature decides to act, nature would find the people I will mention in this my submission and their families and deal with them bitterly.
Meaning what?
Let me make my point. So you see, I was actually counting on, and I'm sure if you open your phone lines, you activate your phone lines this morning, a majority of Ghanaians will tell you that they were counting on organized labor to actually win this war against galamsey for us. And this morning, Lorato said that organized labor took charge and wanted to fight. I would mention.
You do well not to mention.
I would mention.
Finish the show.
I would mention that organized labor took charge to fight galamsey. Roland, the same charge the president told us that he has taken, organized labor should come back and come and take the same charge. I was personally expecting organized labor to stand in solidarity with the Democracy Hub protesters who were kept behind bars and denied food, water, and medicine. I was expecting organized labor to stand in solidarity with the Free the Citizen demonstrators. Have you heard, maybe you haven't, but I have heard and read on Daily Guide Network how the Bono regional chairperson or chairman of the New Patriotic Party claims that organized labor reached out to them and specifically mentions Joshua Alabi, that and not Joshua Alabi not Joshua Alabi of the NDC.
Professor Joshua Alabi.
No, not Joshua Alabi of the NDC. Says that it's mentioning the name of the TUC secretary, right, to say that they approached them, that leadership of MPP, to ask that give them 50 million Ghana cedis for them to halt the strike and the demonstration.
But that's not verified.
No, let me make my point. For us to verify this information, it is a claim the Bono regional chairperson is making. We want to hear organized labor say that this claim by the NPP is not true. Because bear in mind, the galamsey has not stopped. The threat against our lives have not stopped. But will the NPP take responsibility for anything? No. And that is why they would wait for organized labor to come and take responsibility. Would His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia take responsibility for anything? Absolutely not. They can't be bothered. And the last time the president said that I don't care about the next election, I care about the next generation, he has proved beyond reasonable doubts that he simply cares about the next election.
Now, how did
and
you
so
do that?
party here, Sika, so the NPP wants to make money so that they will fund their campaign activities. And so it is not about thinking about the next generation. Now, Roland, come to think of it. If President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia think about the next generation, will they look on with careless abandon for babies to be born deformed? If they care, will they look on for us to consume poison food and water? But there is one thing I must draw organized labor's attention to. Are they not interested in the report that Professor Frimpong Boateng submitted to the president? And when I say this to mean that the president is complicit in this galamsey. Roland, if you are not complicit, and I come to report to you as a boss that someone has harassed me sexually, and you form a committee to look into the matter, the committee submits a report to you, you get up from your chair, and you sit on the report for 2 solid years. If the president had the political will, if the president was not complicit, if the president indeed had put the job on the line, the president should have acted on the report. Now, in wrapping up, let me say that I recently heard, Auntie Rodney was talking about the all trances. I recently heard the NPP MP for I think it's Manson Kwanta, Dr. Ayuefriye, saying that the galamseyers were imported. Saying that the galamseyers were imported by the NPP. That is cheap, NDC. That is absolutely cheap talk. See, the NPP, under the leadership of Nana Addo and Bawumia, will not take responsibility for anything. And every indicator of the economy that the NDC left for the NPP, they are deteriorating it in landing. Media freedom, you are a media person. The media freedom that we left when we were leaving power. Today, Afro-Barometer tells us that President Nana Addo Dankwa is handling you, the media, with stiff-handedness. And that is curtailing media freedom. On galamsey, what was the stability levels? Show the visuals of the images. Show the visuals, the health of the water and the health of the land. And on the issue of even unemployment, they have taken everything. CD depreciation, cost of living. The NPP, including galamsey, has taken everything from good to worse. And I think that on 7th December, let us punish the elephant. Let us take the elephant back to the bush.
At the end of the day,
in the
you have been
waters.
there before, having interacted with organized labor all these years. If you look at that atmosphere, and then you look at the outcome, as we saw yesterday, the agitation even from UTAG, represented by Professor Jampo and Ito, and then you look at what the perception now is, not only on social media, but also in real time. What does it tell you? What might have happened?
Thank you very much, Roland. Let me say good morning to your viewers. Good morning to my auntie and my sisters here. And good morning to my friend Abdul Latif Dan of Ablikuma Central. And good morning to my flag bearer. And good morning to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Alan Chamati.
Indeed, Dr. Bawumia.
You see, the point is that there are 21 trade unions.
21 trade unions.
Yes, there are 21 trade unions. And immediately you see this, then it means that there wasn't enough consultation amongst them. So there wasn't a consensus. So it's even possible that if they embarked on the strike, they wouldn't have gotten a quorum. It's also clear that there was some kind of, they said they had discussions with the president and everybody. There was some kind of talks amongst them. So because there was no quorum formed, then you realize that if you embark on the strike, it will not be successful. But they should have done their homework well. Because I was even surprised that the nurses, the doctors, were not prepared to be part of it. Because whatever the effects and ramifications of galamsey lies at their doorstep. Because they are seeing the kidney diseases, the liver, the poisoning, and all that. And they actually came out as doctors to say that the nation is facing a crisis. And so I do not know why they had to pull out. Okay, it's an essential service, we do agree, but there's a way that they do it. So organized labor, I believe, from what I know, they didn't do enough consultation among the 21.
So internally, there should have been enough consultation.
Yes, because there are 21 trade unions.
How did their ranks break then, envisaging, based on experience and observation?
Their ranks broke because there wasn't adequate communication, and there's a new leader. He should learn the ropes. Even though he has been in the organized labor trade union for a very long time, Joshua and Cancer, right?
Joshua
Ansa. I saw him and I didn't know his name. I'd worked with him variously. So he should learn the ropes. And also, I did my master's on why trade unions go on strikes. And sometimes beneath it is maybe their own interest, some request that they are looking for. So if it is given them, there are so many dynamics in there. But on the surface for Professor Jampo to come out, it means that there was some issues with consultation.
A lack of consensus.
Yes, and communication. And also, even when you listen to the Achobwe wasn't strong. You see, we the comrades, we have a certain Chobwe, ask Auntie Rodali. When we do the Chobwe, then it comes. Because the TUC are comrades.
No unison.
No, but this Chobwe was weak.
This TUC is no longer comrades.
Yes, you get him. They always be comrades. The TUC, the Chobwe was weak. So it presupposes that there was a problem, that they themselves didn't have a consensus. But I just want to say that, Roland, you asked me so many questions. I have to also say, I want to say that there's no commitment on the part of government.
Why?
Because you see, if government is really committed to this fight, you should not be going through all this sharing.
There are soldiers who will be deployed.
Soldiers have always been
suspension
deployed.
Of the ally.
It has always been. There was no ally in 2023, but people were still mining and we had issues. You get
You mean prior to 2020?
Yes, 2020. Even yes, prior to 2021, the ally was 2023, I guess.
No.
2022.
I have to find
Yeah,
out.
I think it's 2020. And even for
I think
them,
it was post 2020 ally, I think.
2023. So that allowed them to mine in the forest, right?
Yes.
So, so it's 2023. It's about a year ago. Before then, what was happening? Everything that the president is saying, it has been said before. And besides, he didn't even sign that letter.
Does it matter?
It matters. It shows commitment. It means he has taken the charge himself. And I'm surprised the president wants to write the manifestos of the other parties. Is it his business to tell them that they should sign a pact?
And this is in relation to...
Why should they sign a pact? I mean, you are in charge. Do the work. You don't need the help of anybody. When you were going to IMF, you did not call us. It concerns Ghana. When you were going, you gave us e-levy. You did not consult us. Now, why are you saying that people should be involved in the fight?
That is where they say they want a pact without political...
Why?
Why do you think that has been...
It is not his business. We want him to fight galamsey. When they also come, they also have their own plan. They have everybody, they have their manifestos. They have a plan how to do it. Even the MPP that is in government, they themselves, they are always reading their manifesto to tell us what they are going to do. Do you get me? So the president cannot come and tell people to sign a pact. It is neither here nor there. You cannot tell me what I will do in my manifesto concerning galamsey. That is not your business. Your business is for you to fight the menace that is killing us. Look, Roland, a friend of mine told me that somebody who spoke to him, my friend is a doctor, that 2 of the ladies' brothers just died. They went to the site to use cyanide and to do their things. They didn't wash their hands properly. They came home hungry, put their fingers in soup to eat fufu, and they died. Because there were traces on their hands. The 2 brothers just died. This is how bad it is. But I want to tell Kofi Juma that if he is a CEO, he should know that the workers have a right to a strike, and it's a human right. So he cannot sit there and say that you sack somebody who doesn't
the Constitution
have... Yes, it is a human right.
And the Labour Act.
The Labour Act. So he doesn't know. So anybody who speaks like that doesn't respect Ghanaians. So it is
Maso Kofi Juma.
Of course he doesn't, because how
He's an experienced politician.
You are experienced, then he should know. Maybe he's not experienced public service servant. Because you see, the GIOC, his company, it is the one at risk. Because the base of the product that he's producing is water. The appetition that he produces is water. Do you get me? So at the end of the day, he should be more concerned and be on the streets with the people who are fighting.
Maso Kofi Juma.
Of course. Why should he say that he's going to sack the people? Hey. They have a right to strike. You have a right to demonstrate. It's a human right. It's a democratic right. In this democratic dispensation, he cannot sit down and say that you sack somebody. You can't just get up and sack a public servant because they went on strike. No, they have a right. You see, they cannot come and intimidate Ghanaians.
How are they intimidating?
This is an intimidation. To say that this is not his private company.
You think it's a threat?
It is a threat.
It is a threat.
It is a threat. Even in your private company, your workers have a right to strike.
Once they are unionized?
Yes, once they are unionized. If they are not unionized, fine. But as long as they are unionized, they have a right to strike. It's a human right. As long as they don't engage in any criminality, as long as they don't destroy anything in the organization, they have a right to strike. You get me? This is a strike gone bad. And I don't like the MPP's posture of saying that, oh, it is NDC, it is CPP. Every time it's somebody. So in 2013 to 2016, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was hit with 15 demonstrations and strikes, was it the MPP doing it? Are they talking from experience? Because His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was hit with 15 demonstrations and strikes. But he took it in his stride. I don't ever remember anybody saying that it was the MPP doing it. And they did. They went on strike 15 times. And every time he himself personally met with them. He didn't let anybody else. If there's any communique that came out, he signed it himself. Now the president has signed this. Wrapping up, it means that he's not interested. He's not committed. We shouldn't worry.
Are you saying that you're looking at the posture of government and then the posture of the president and it's a science? For example, what they say that there cannot be a moratorium.
Where is he right now? He left here with all these problems when we are dying to go to a UN. Somebody couldn't have represented him there, the foreign minister. When we are in this crisis, this is a crisis, a national crisis.
I don't understand. So you are saying that him leaving the shores of Ghana to attend other important international means that he's not committed?
Is he committed? If he was committed, we would have fought this fight by now. Because it needs a lot of commitment, a lot of valor, a lot of love for the people that you govern. For you to fight this, because it is a health issue. Look, let me tell you before I wrap up. Some women were demonstrating. There was a footage. Some women were demonstrating in, I think, Memphis East. They said we should do galamsey. Galamsey should not be stopped. In the midst of this mini demonstration, without a permit, they sitting in the street. There was a car, Baumia's car, standing there. It is possible pickup. It was there in the midst of that demonstration. So does it show that they are committed? They are not. They shouldn't come and waste that time.
Okay, I'll ask this question, and this one I think I'll throw it to everybody. And Laura, so this goes to you. What do you think, looking at the outcome and the position now that organized labor has taken, looks to be the effect of organized labor and the perception about organized labor?
If Nana is talking about strikes and talking about 15, in 2019 alone, Nanado had more than 6 strikes against anti-government strikes.
You said 6.
In 2022 alone, there were about 5 or more. Let's add what is going on now. You see, when you have a leader, who will not come and tell you that I've acquired a dead goat syndrome, people will listen to him and negotiate with him proper. That is the kind of president we have. I kept on asking this question. What was the strike supposed to cure? The strike was to get enhanced efforts to deal with the issue that had bedeviled all of us. Do we look for solutions by creating problems? I was happy when I saw the notice from the Ghana Medical Association and the Nurses and Midwives Association. Ask me why. we are dealing with an issue that borders on health. We are talking about people feeling unwell, and we want the people that are supposed to take care of these people, we want them to go on strike. Let's just even imagine the essential services like water and electricity, plus our medical and health workers going on strike. The chaos. Does that solve the problem of health and other related issues we are talking about? We're still dealing with doctor to population ratios. WHO is 1 to 1,000. Ours is hovering around some 1 to 6,000 for doctors. It's just for nurses that we are doing pretty well because we are below the 1 to 1,000. And you still want these people to go and strike to solve what? To solve what? If we are coming to sit down here and talk about accusations and counter-accusations, I also heard an accusation that our compatriots in the NDC had given some amount of money to organized labor. Is it true? Is it that we want to solve this issue collectively, or we just want to talk about it and not have anything done about it?
You are in power.
Organized labor, government has never hidden away from the fact that government is responsible for what is there. But how do you do it? You do it collectively. Even in private businesses, when you go there, they have suggestion boxes. Like I was telling you, and let's be very honest about this. You yourself indicated that between 2017 and 2019, we saw the water clearing. When did it become terrible? Up around this table, people have been mentioned within the New Patriotic Party of saying things that we disagree with. But have you heard the flag bearer or his running mate for the new Dr. Baumia or Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe talk about enhancing galamsey? But I have heard the running mate for the NDC talk about coming to teach people galamsey properly. I have heard their flag bearer, whose behalf in 2020, people like Kweku Boahen went to galamsey sites and told them that and they are still saying it. That is what has translated in their amnesty promise to galamseyers on the site.
Well, yesterday I made this interjection, and I'll do that again, Laura. I think that all of us, when we want to make public commentary, we do the politics of it. Yes. But what the former president did say in that media encounter, and subsequently that's also has been the refrain and the line of communication, is that if you want to fight galamsey, there has to be the commitment. Yes. In relation to the prosecution, you don't go and prosecute those who do the menial jobs at the site, while you leave out those who do the funding, those who perpetrate it at the top level, because then it doesn't create a lot of equity at the end of the day, and that has been the line of communication. How is that bad?
Let's use Media General as an example, as an entity. We sit on the show. If you make comments that are not warranted, will the police arrest Madam Beatrice Agyemang?
How is that related to this? I want to
know. I'm just asking you a question. No, if you commit a crime on set, you go against the laws of this country in terms of journalism and all that, will we go and arrest Madam Beatrice Agyemang?
If it is being instigated by Madam Beatrice Agyemang, then the state as the lead prosecutor...
How do you know if it's being instigated by Madam Beatrice Agyemang, when you have the one perpetrated the crime?
Are you saying that those who have been in prison, those who are doing those funding, like those we find in the water bodies?
We sit here.
No, I asked you a question. You made a comment and I asked you a specific question.
Yes.
So the question, and we have to lay the preamble. We have a number of people doing the menial work. They collect the laterite or whatever raw material. Then they do the processing. Are you saying the same people are those who buy the chamfines, those who put the boats? They are the people who buy the machinery. They import the cyanide, the mercury, and as a result of that, when you prosecute them, imprison them, that's enough. Because that's the position of the former president.
When you breach the laws, does that, and you are arrested, how do we know that you are the one you are not the one. Someone is instigating.
Who does the prosecution?
It's true investigation.
Who does the prosecution?
Investigation, right? That you know who is behind it. We sat down over the years.
You didn't answer my question.
Papa, please, if you keep interjecting, how do I make...
No, because you asked me a question, so I also asked you a question.
But you didn't answer the question I asked.
I asked you. Which question was that?
I asked you that if you perpetrate a crime on set, will we go and arrest her?
And I answered you. And
you said if she is instigating it.
Yeah, so that's my response. You don't like my response.
How will we know if it's being instigated? She's the one instigating. But you are the first point of call. If you don't give evidence to it.
So the one prosecuting should investigate.
That doesn't mean you are the one who bought the equipment here. I don't want to bought the equipment you are using here. The moment I decide that I am coming to TV3 to partake in the discussion, I'm also
so those who bought the
liable.
champagnes, imported the mercuries, etc., and fund the activity for which they are not supposed to be liable.
Do you know them? Do you know them?
What's the work of the prosecution?
Exactly. So they should do it. And what does the president have to do? The president.
And that's where there's a lack of commitment.
When you say there's a lack of commitment, where is it? I just mentioned that there are 14 courts. Imagine the president going to make decisions for the judiciary. Will be the same people who say. But the laws that are supposed to ensure that these things are done. You haven't heard of the Witness Protection Act. You haven't heard of Right to Information Bill. You haven't heard about all the legislations that have been put in place. If I mention the office of the special prosecutor, and I say, oh, it hasn't worked. But it has been set up to do what it's supposed to do. The person there is independent.
Rodali, what do you make of all this?
Where did the report that you keep referring to...
The position that organized labor finds itself, and what do you think now is the perception and reputation, top of the mind, from the ordinary Ghanaian about organized labor?
Roland, I don't think we should politicize this issue of galamsey. What we've been doing is politicizing galamsey. We shouldn't. It's a problem that is affecting every Ghanaian. And as such, we should not play into these people did and these people did not. It shouldn't be the argument now. Organized labor are people that are actually, if you look at the whole scenario, you ask yourself, shouldn't we be blaming organized labor as well? Who are members of organized labor? Organized labor are the very people who have been appointed to various positions, and they are supposed to implement certain laws that should have stopped this whole galamsey. But did they do it? No. We sit and we listen to the CEO of the Minerals Commission saying that they don't have enough staff and then their budget is not enough. Since when did he get to know that the budget was not enough? Since when did he get to know that the staff were not enough? That they don't have supervisors, they don't have technical staff, and the likes of it. So organized labor by itself should also bear the blame. Because at the end of the day, organized labor is supposed to be making sure that the jobs that are given to them, that is to supervise, to make sure that they go to the galamsey areas, make sure that they are doing the right thing, implement the laws. There are laws in this country concerning mining. Have these laws been followed up on? Are they implemented? Are they enforced? These are the questions that we should also be asking organized labor. So if at the end of the day, organized labor decides to say that, look, we are going on strike, or we are going to strike because of this, then there must be a problem somewhere. And one of those problems is that organized labor is trying to tell us that maybe we are not getting the support that we are supposed to be getting from government to fight this. And why am I saying this? We got a Professor Frimpong Boateng report, and nobody worked on it. This was a report that could have been worked on. Does it mean that the police do not see these people? We've seen clips of police people allegedly going to collect money and walk away and watch illegal miners work. We've seen clips of military men going apparently to collect money and watch illegal miners work. So all of these things just come to tell us that there is a problem within organized labor itself. It is either they don't have the logistics to work with, or it is so partisan, so polarized, that this is exactly where we will find ourselves. When you have a whole trade union congress that cannot come out with one voice, and everybody else comes out with their own version of what they ought to do or what they ought not to do. And to say that GMA, Ghana Medical Association, would have been treating sick people. This is not the first time that Ghana Medical Association...
For the sake of public health.
Well, for the sake of public health, when it comes to their own remunerations and their own benefits, they do go on strike. We were in this country when there was a strike, And the Cuban doctors, the Cuban medical brigade, decided to go to work. You understand? So this politicization has been going on for a while. It is not now. So all we are saying is that organized labor somehow have disappointed us. They have disappointed us for calling off or suspending it because every Ghanaian wanted them to come and tell us exactly what the problems were.
Now, organized labor and their perception and what we have to make of them, knowing that this is now the position they've taken.
And so, Roland, I still stand by my argument that we counted on organized labor as Ghanaians to win this war against galamsey. We counted on organized labor because Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia have not been fair to Ghanaians. In fact, they don't mean well for the country. On one hand, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo says it will take the next NPP government to solve the problems we have. Dr. Bawumia says, well, I have the solutions, but I'll keep it till, like my boss has said, the next administration. And so beyond organized labor, it stops with the president and his vice. It stops with them. See, the NPP and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo would always go for the low-hanging fruits.
You think that's what they've done now?
Remember when they wanted to pass e-levy? They actually ambulanced sick members of parliament into parliament to actually get it passed. Whatever it will take, Roland, while squinting your eyes, that is the truth. And so if you can go heaven and earth to actually get e-levy passed, to actually pass levies, to actually, without calling all of us at this table and calling Ghanaians, say that, come and let us sign a pact. I'm giving $10 million to my daughter, ambulance spare parts contract. Come and let us sign a pact. I want to dig the world's most expensive hole, $58 million. Come and let us sign a pact in this PDS scandal. Come and let us sign a pact for the one day, one scandal that the NPP has taken us through. But after the distractions, you want us to come and sign pacts. And we think that, so just people say that, oh, when you sign, then you are making progress.
So you will sign the pact?
What are we talking about? What happens to the names that were mentioned in the Professor Frimpong Boateng report? Are they also signing pacts? And would it take the pact to stop people like Charles Owusu, the Director of Operations at the Forestry Commission, to stop galamsey? Would it stop the likes of John Buedu? Would it stop the likes of Lord Combe? Would it stop the likes of Charles Nitego and the likes of Frank Asiedu Bekwin and the likes that have been mentioned? See, even personal assistants were mentioned in that report. And we think that it will take a pact. Let me, you should have corrected Lorato, and I'll mention her name again. There's one trick about the NPP. Anytime you call them to accountability, they say, don't call my name. We shouldn't call your name. Whose name should we call? It is time for accountability, and then we will drag your name till you do the right things. He says our running mate, Professor Nana Jeno-Pokwajima, says that he will support people to do galamsey. Roland, you should have corrected her. Or to correct her, maybe your producer should be playing that tape for us. What she said was that jobs are non-existent. And the NPP has failed to create jobs. It tells in the unemployment rate that we have. And so if government hasn't created jobs, what can we do? We would support people as a government, that is the NDC, so that people can mine legally and in environmentally sustainable ways. You should play the video. There is no way, I'm sure that somebody at this table has comprehension problem, that the good prof said that the NDC will support people to do galamsey. You should play the tape so that she will point out to us where the venerable prof said that. The elephant is destructive, but for the levels of destruction that we have seen under this elephant, it is, Lorato, please don't interject me. I will mention your name. I will mention your name.
She's making reference to you because you mentioned Professor
What I'm saying is that, what I'm saying is that it is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia that have emboldened the NPP to be kingpins of galamsey. If you are not complicit, you will not actually confiscate a report. You actually task a committee to work, and that is typical of the president. That's what he does. He will put you to the job and sabotage you. We heard that with Martin Amidu. We have heard that with Professor Frimpong Boateng. And so in wrapping up, what I'm saying is that it wouldn't take a pact, and organized labor maybe should come again. Their requests to government have not been met. In instance, they said they are calling for immediate evacuation of all mining equipment. Are you telling me that when you go to galamsey sites right now, there are not equipment over there? Tell me which of the requests made by organized labor has actually, in their own words, with immediate effect that they were calling, has been met by government to warrant that they call off their strike. And so in wrapping up, the good people of Ghana would punish the NPP for the wreck and havoc they have caused to our health and our livelihoods.
Roland,
I can, the two of you.
I can see that you are pressed with time.
You're both not good enough.
The organized labor asked for a state of emergency, but they haven't gotten it. Or they told us that
the moratorium to be placed.
Yes, they told us that whatever demands that they made, government has met them, or government has, obliged them their request. But they were very emphatic about the state of emergency, and it has not been granted. So the government has not obliged them their request. Whatever went on that we are here today, it is an affront to everybody, because organized labor represents most of Ghanaians, workers, and most people work, and is a chunk of this nation we are talking about. So it's unfortunate.
You think they're disappointed?
Yes, they have. They should have done their homework in a better fashion, because and all the accusations about money trading and all that, they should come and say something so that we know we can have some confidence in them. But Laratu was saying something, my sister. You said that if there's a problem and you breach certain
the reference to the chief executive.
You see, if Madam Beatrice is the one who has a certain editorial policy, and behind the scenes, and you are exacting the editorial policy, whoever sits here will be arrested. Do you get it? Whoever sits here will do the same thing and will be arrested. And I stand with His Excellency John Dramani.
That's even why the company is even sued in addition to me.
Yes. I stand with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I will stand with him today. I will stand with him tomorrow. I will stand with him forever. If he says that the people who have been arrested and put in jail, he will release them, because they are not the guilty ones. These are hungry young people who Nanado has failed to create jobs, and they found themselves there. I am even surprised that he says that free SHS is helping. People are getting educated. But you still have these young ones at these sites, loads of them, working in galamsey, which is a very dangerous venture. So if anybody says that because His Excellency Mahama says that he will release certain people, he's supporting galamsey. No, he wants justice to be done, because the MPP government knows the people who are behind the scenes, who are in charge of the shamfans, who are exporting the illegal gold. These young ones there, do they have access to the international gold market? The gold that is being extracted from the ground, is it being kept in this country? They are exporting it. The police, our Ghana police, they are good with intelligence. Are you telling me they cannot fish out the people behind the scenes? They can. Look, Roland, we are joking with this, we are talking politics with it, but it's a very serious matter. Look, this weekend, water flew through my tap and I was excited. I poured water, put it in a kettle. I wanted to drink tea. I'm not a tea person, but I'm trying. They say green tea is good. So I'm trying. And I tried. I boiled the water, put it in a flask, and I saw particles coming to the top. The top of the water was covered with brown particles. And I was scared. This is water from my tap, which is purported to be clean.
In Accra here?
In Accra here, which is purported to be clean. And for me, I was like, what is the meaning of this? So we are facing a certain kind of danger that we should not I mean, take it for granted.
Existential threat?
It is a threat. We are in a national crisis. A national
crisis?
Yes, that we need to deal with. And 14 regions in this country are doing galamsey, in the forests, in the rivers. And this is where we get our livelihood, water and food. And they are being contaminated by cyanide and mercury and all manner of chemicals. And Nanado doesn't care. He signs a pact or a letter, and it is signed by Eugene. You should sign that letter for us to see that you are committed to the ingredients in the content of the letter. And let me say good morning to my very good friend, Juliana Amwako. Mrs. Juliana Amwako.
Is she also fighting galamsey?
Yes, he works with the Labour Commission in Takoradi. Yes, she's fighting galamsey. Everybody, you see, this galamsey fight should not be limited to a few people. If we don't fight, please, it's not coming. Please let me finish.
Right.
You see,
Your interjections are becoming
too much. Yes,
please.
because you see, if I say that, I'm not saying that the actual fights, the ingredient, the mechanics, the equipment that we need to fight, the force that we need to fight, the logistics, it should come from government, the commitment. Government is not committed whatsoever, I'm telling you. Because if
you
government...
can clearly see, eh?
I can clearly see, because if government was committed, you see, crime, please, crime is crime.
Let's all come together.
People, I'm not saying let's, I haven't mentioned the name, let's come together.
Please put Loratu's mic off. She's interjecting.
I'm not saying to come together. I'm not talking about come together. Paparo, please, let me finish. You see, the point is that it is not this coming together. Coming together, that is not, you see, somebody, when you are in the family, Paparo, you are the father of the house. You are the one who gives direction, and you are the one who helps to give direction. It's always good that a man is in the house. Even the Bible says that the man takes the lead. So right now, the man we have is Nanado Danko Akufo-Addo.
Yet you stand with someone.
You stand with Baumia. Why do you have a problem that I stand with somebody? I will stand with him on this matter, right, whether you like it or not.
Let me go to the line. I have a member of the coalition against galamsey, the writer, and Carol Annan. Carol, good morning to you.
Because of a policy.
Good morning, Roland.
Are you disappointed with the current position taken by organized labor, and then also the resultant reaction and position of government in terms of the actions they've taken so far as a coalition?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers and your listeners, and to the panel you've got in the studio. First of all, the coalition is made up of several groups and several organizations that have come together. So, the groups include labor, they include media, they include religious groups, they include youth groups, they include academia, other pressure groups, traditional leaders, and they include individuals. So, labor is just one part of it. And let's be clear, organized labor have ways of doing things, and organized labor does things that we don't all participate in because they do them as organizations. So basically for us, the focus is not on what organized labor has done now, but the focus is on making sure that we continue with the advocacy to ensure that this menace stops and we save our own lives and the lives of our children and our children's children. That is what is of absolute importance to us. So we speak, and we will continue to speak and advocate about how bad galamsey is and the dangers that it poses to life and of humans and animals, to plant life, and generally to our very existence as a people. That is what our focus is. And so for us, we respect what organized labor has done, but it will not deter us from doing what we always intended to do, which is to put pressure on government to be citizens and not spectators, and to get actions and to get the people to begin to appreciate even better what the implications of this activity is and what it
So, Madam Annan,
do to
what action then is being taken today? What action?
We are declaring or we are beginning our protest through the wearing of red. So we are starting a wear red campaign. It can be a red band. It can be a red band on your car. It can be anything red. And on Friday we will wear red as in red attire. So on a daily basis, anything red. But on Fridays is Red Friday. We will wear red, and we will do same on Sundays. We will also wear red to church. We will encourage our Muslim friends to wear red to the mosque. You know, red is the color of our protest. But we are going to continue this to the point where every Ghanaian who really loves Ghana and who is concerned about their well-being, their health, their wellness, their peace of mind, and their ability to afford to live in Ghana. Because when we start importing water, or we start trying to treat water and remove metals from water at the cost that we expect, we envisage it to come with, I don't think many people will be able to afford water.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Carol Annan, and representing the Coalition Against Galamsey. They have declared a state of wearing red. There's a protest that being commenced today. They will go to church on Sunday, and that's another period for a prayer. That's just a picture. So as it is, we have to end the discussion this morning. But
my name was mentioned.
No.
My name was mentioned, and what I'll say was misconstrued.
Yeah, I'll give you a minute.
Listen, a minute. I insist that this is a collective fight. And in my opening, I said the water and all these issues doesn't know color, doesn't know creed, doesn't know religion. But you see, we also need to hold everyone that signing a pact, what do we say? Government is to continue. Signing a pact is a commitment to everybody seeking to lead this country's commitment today. So if some say they won't sign, that is up to Ghanaians to judge. But go and watch that video. Go and watch that video of Professor Jane Nano Pukwajan. She said, galamsey. What is galamsey? It's illegal. And let me tell you, like the analogy of the amnesty they are promising. Papa Ro, if people are not there on site doing what is supposed to be, what they are doing now, well, it's when people bring in their machines and all that, what they happen. And when people are arrested, they are not arrested on party basis. They are arrested for committing a crime. So if you say you are going to leave the people who have committed a crime, then that is up to them.
Let's not politicize this galamsey thing. I'm actually still on that point that we should not politicize the galamsey issue. Because protesters were shot at in one of these, that was, I think, Wasa East, by a Chinese. You understand? Chinese people are in there shooting people. Then there's another case that I read where galamseyers were giving out warning shots, and the paramount chief had to come in. So at the end of the day, if we are not careful, then we have people also demonstrating. At the end of the day, we are going to have minors against other people, against the citizens, and it's not going to augur well for us. I am just saying that this thing must be fought on a non-partisan line. Let us all come together and fight it, non-partisan, without this kind of polarization that we're having. Because at the end of the day, both NDC and MPP, you're all guilty of galamseying.
No. And so a quick correction. The name I intended to mention was Joshua Ansah, the TUC secretary, and to state that if anybody, answer please, we are still on the show. If anybody at this table thinks that what the prof said, Professor Nana Jenopokwajiman, meant that she was actually instigating people to do more galamsey, I repeat, the person has a comprehension problem. But what did the NPP tell us? They told us they have the men. You have the men to fight galamsey. We can't find the men. We can't even find boys in the NPP. We have the men to stabilize the city. We can't even find them. See, we can't trust the kingpins of galamsey
to
end galamsey.
Roland, you see, the point is that I disagrey with Auntie Rodelin. You see, who brings the Chinese people? We have to politicize. Who brings the... If you talk about politics, we are talking about the people in power. Who allow the Chinese people to come into this nation? Through the borders, whether roads...
They are not ghosts, you mean?
Yes, they come and they are given the permit to enter. Is it not the government in power who is doing that? And if they are living here without the necessary permit, who is allowing them to live here? Do you get me? And government has the machinery to fight. If you are in opposition, you don't have access to the police, you don't have access to the military, you don't have access to speedboats, you don't have any business going to monitor the borders of the galamsey areas or to deal with them. So, I mean, it is the responsibility of government to be in this fight for Ghanaians.
Thank you very much, Nania, and then also Laura too, and then Auntie Rodelin. Thank you as well, and thank you. Thank you. Well, step into the world of Dewa 539 for your chance to win big with Dewa Direct and Dewa Chop Money. With Dewa Direct, you have to dial the short code *446#. You pick the range of the numbers 1 to 39. You get to win big 20 times, 40 times, and 400 times your stake. And you get to win cash every evening at 7 p.m. and then also on Sundays at 6 p.m. Now, early birds, they also love Dewa Chop Money. And again, at 10 a.m., you make sure you use that short code, dial *446#. The range of the numbers, once again, 1 to 39. You win the same number of stakes. You can go online and then play at dewa-nla.com. And just in case you need help, please make sure that for customer service experiences and then also clarifications, you call the number 05562 59249. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest in sports.